think about the achievements in my life I get to check off.
Yeah.
I was pushing kids on the swing, and I was pushing one of the other family's children on the swing, and as I went to push her, I heard pop.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, fuck. Literally never happened before in my life. I've always made this joke, but now it's true. I literally broke a button on my pants, and the button literally shot off my pants. I'm not kidding. The button literally broke off, and I picked it up off the ground. The inside of the button where they stitched through shattered. And I was like, oh, man, I am a fat piece of shit.
Quiet, please. I was expecting the swing had to have broken.
Arguably, that would be less dangerous than shooting a button off with such great force.
2. Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense, Season 2, Episode 26. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Skittle.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, we'll look at singularities. Specifically, can machines become conscious? Another time, we should discuss if machines are actually intelligent or simply knowledgeable. But of greater importance to the human race, it's Free Slurpee Day.
Oh, now I'm interested.
Slurpee is the brand name for carbonated slushies sold by 7-Eleven and its subsidiaries. The brand originated in 1966 when 7-Eleven made a licensing deal with the Icy Company to sell slushies in 7-Eleven stores. More than 11.6 million drinks are consumed around the world each day. 40% of the Slurpees are sold during June, July, and August. Enough drinks are sold each year to fill 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
That's a lot of diabetes.
That's a lot of diabetes.
And what they don't tell you is that while the Slurpees on 7-Eleven are free, the insulin they mark up 2x.
Wow, just on 7-Eleven they mark it up.
It's a loss leader. Terrible day to be a diabetic.
You know, maybe they have a zero sugar option by now.
I don't think you can have a Slurpee that's zero sugar. I think it's not a Slurpee. At that point, it's just some cold, generic Shasta drink. It's not a Slurpee without the sugar. I mean, you can make it sweet. You can put sorbitol in it or some other space-age horse shit. But I'm going to go get one today. As soon as we're done recording this, I'm going to go waddle out of the studio straight down to the Slurpee machine.
I don't know why you just get one. You can go to every 7-Eleven in town.
Every time I do that, I see your picture on the wall. They're like, do not serve this man. It's kind of like all the casinos in Vegas. They all talk to one another and share photos so that they make sure that they're not all getting hassled by the same guy.
Do not let Jeff in. By the way, usher CJ to our best table.
Yeah, they're very happy to take my money.
How is your week going?
My week is great. I am on holiday. I'm stuck at the beach, which is not terrible. There's about 60 of us here. It's my wife's entire family, and we're basically just screwing around at the beach.
Do I hear waves in the background?
No, I think I have to actually, believe it or not, that's the ice machine. That was the ice maker. That's what that was. There's about 60 of us here, and we've done a lot of beach activities, bike rides, sandcastle building, kite flying. It's been a lovely time.
It's as good as it gets.
We did have a pod of dolphins that swam up right to the middle of where we were. And I've seen dolphins in the ocean a ton of times in California. Yeah. But these ones got to within I'd say 20-ish yards of where we were at the shore. And I'm looking around, everyone's like, oh, let's go out and swim with the dolphins. I'm like, first, find the shark.
Yeah.
Find the shark.
Why are they so close to the shore? There's a reason for that.
Yeah, exactly. And then a couple hours later, I wasn't there, but then apparently a seal swam up to the shore. And I'm like, yeah. Something out here is in predator form is keeping these guys swimming to the shore.
Seals often come up on beaches. We see it in Hawaii all the time. And what they do is they just put string and cones protecting them, saying this is now their area of the beach, not yours. You can't come near. It's really cool because you are fairly close to a seal who's just sunning himself.
Okay, first of all, I have a name, so you don't have to say seal, okay? Second of all, please tell me when to roll over.
That's a walrus.
That's a walrus. That is the kindest thing I think you've said to me so far today. Anyway, it's been great. I cannot complain. I'm spending a week at the beach, so it's been lovely. How about you? How's your week?
Absolutely amazing. I have had a sensational week. My niece and her husband and their 2 daughters came and we had dinner. And man, oh man, I have the best family. I am so unbelievably lucky. I absolutely adore these people. And I love my friends. I absolutely love my friends. Friends are the family you choose, for sure. But I have a special place in my heart, especially for people who have been around me for so long, who have known me for so many years. Yeah. They know the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and they are just delightful to be around.
I would like to point out for our less astute listeners out there that you and I have both spent the past week with family, and you've highlighted how much you've enjoyed your family. I've highlighted how much I've enjoyed building sandcastles. So I'll just leave that there for those folks to figure out. Anyway,
we should get to our headlines.
We should.
AI speech generator reaches human parity, but it's too dangerous to release, scientists say. Microsoft has developed an artificial intelligence AI speech generator that is apparently so convincing that it cannot be released to the public.
I want to tell you I agree with this, but this genie's not going back in the bottle. Yeah. But okie dokie.
Also, what a brag.
Total brag.
This is so great, I can't can't even show it to you. I can't even tell you about it. It's so important.
We have an Excel that's so good we can't release it because we're afraid all of humanity would collapse into the black hole of Excel.
I believe that they have invented a text-to-speech generator that totally can fool you.
Sure.
That you can put a few sentences in from somebody, and it can imitate that voice so perfectly that you would believe that's actually CJ Little talking.
Sure.
I also believe 20 other people are going to do it next week.
Of course. I don't give Microsoft a lot of money every year. I would definitely give them money for a version of Clippy that I could right-click and set to Samuel L. Jackson or George Clooney.
With the attitude. You got to get the attitude.
Have the attitude.
Too.
I'm telling you, these attitude filters, that's the next thing.
Yeah.
I care a little bit that it sounds like them. I care more that it has the attitude and talks like that.
Sure.
That's what I want. I mean, it might not be able to, someone like you that has a very well-tuned ear, you might be able to hear the difference in the first 30 versions. But I think the majority of people will hear it and be like, yeah, that sounds like whatever, The Rock. Like, that's how he sounds. Yeah.
Toyota's getting into the charging business, joining the Iona EV charging joint venture.
I'm glad they're getting into the charging business. Toyota still has yet to get into the de-charging business. They don't really have any EVs.
But they're going to by 2030. They're anticipating they're going to have 30 EV models between Toyota and Lexus.
By 2030, the AGI has taken over and we don't need cars anymore.
They're just too late for the whole thing. They will have missed humanity.
I mean, maybe they're fooling a couple shareholders right now, but everyone else is just like, yeah, fuck, it's over by then. But okay, sure. Good job, Toyota.
The project is trying to put up 30,000 chargers across North America by 2030.
Which seems like a big number until you realize just how big North America is. And then you go, well...
Yeah, North America's big. Does that include Canada if you're saying North America? Does
I would
that include
assume.
Canada?
I mean, that is America's hat.
That's even spreading the chargers out more thinly.
There's like 150,000 gas stations, I think, in the U.S.
This is a good business also for mom and pop operators because the capex is nothing.
Sure. Okay. All in, well, I'm not counting Mexico, but between Canada and the U.S., you've got about 160-ish thousand gas stations. So you add 30,000, that's a decent number. That's a lot.
Is that 30,000 locations? Because like gas stations have 6 pumps or 10 pumps.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm assuming it's pumps and not locations, but that's a great question.
You are going to need fewer of these things than you needed of gas stations, just because a lot of people can do this at their house.
30,000 chargers. I mean, okay, there's 160,000 gas stations. They probably average 10 pumps each.
Sure.
So you're right. It's a drop in the bucket.
Going back to a drop in the bucket, we came back to where we started.
Full circle. Yeah.
Okay, enough with the headlines. Up next, we're going to talk about AGIs, artificial general intelligence, computers becoming conscious.
First, we should work on the humans becoming conscious and then have them work on the computers becoming conscious.
Order is important, isn't it?
Yes. I think that's the right order of operations. Like in math, you need to multiply before you add.
Let's go.
I'm in. Today, I hope we could talk about one of my favorite topics.
Yes, what is that?
How to live forever.
Oh, I like that. You don't have any interest in dying, do you?
No. I want other people to live forever. I want to torture them. I'm hoping to be out of here by 60. I'm not. Okay. I'm punched my ticket. This is just a fast bobsled ride to the bottom for me. Einstein wrote that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubborn, persistent illusion.
That's true.
I think that's super interesting.
100% accurate. By the way, when you think of an omniscient God, he has no position in time if he knows everything.
Of course.
He's in all positions in time at all times.
Yes, because you know everything.
Right, because that is the penalty of knowing everything. Yeah. Is you're everywhere at once.
Isn't that Jimmy Wales, basically? And then they just have the power of Wikipedia. They just know all things at all time.
Oh, Jimmy.
James. He goes by James, really. When you refer to him as a God, he prefers James and not Jimmy. I don't think any good God could be named Jimmy.
Think about Wikipedia 20 years forward.
Sure.
How much more will be in Wikipedia than is now? I mean, you think about how much is in Wikipedia now. It's remarkable. It's mind-blowing.
Sure.
Think about 20 years from now. How much more of human knowledge will be captured?
The problem with that, though, is 88% of it's going to be written by shitty AI bots.
I hope that's not true.
So it's just gonna be wrong.
Wikipedia is very carefully edited. They actually fight over the edits.
Of course.
They really care passionately about this, as they should. So I don't think that necessarily will be the case.
Until the fucking editors are AI bots.
Nope, I don't think that'll happen.
All AI all the way down.
The culture there is very rigorous.
So I come across this article by David Owen in the New Yorker.
Yes.
By the way, good for you for agreeing with Einstein. You clearly have evolved well if you're just agreeing with Einstein.
Makes life simple.
I don't think the man's really been wrong about much in his career.
Except sleeping with his second cousin. But other than that, everything's
well. First
great.
of all, they were tired, and second, And second, the thing that a lot of people don't know, they don't talk about this in any of the biographies written about him, but at his family reunions, they would just leave a bowl by the door and people would just drop their keys in on the way in. That was how those work. His family reunions were a little different than ours. Anyway, by the way, to my family reunion, I will take an Uber if there's ever a fucking bowl by the door. David Owen in the New Yorker wrote that Einstein presumably didn't mean that after death he expected to travel back and forth through his life as though rifling through pages of a book, right?
Sure.
And that at any rate, his statement hints at a better strategy, one that David himself has practiced, which is that the simplest, most foolproof way to extend life is to do so backwards by adding years in reverse.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of fascinating to think about from the context of everlasting life. Like, you don't want to put years at the end. You don't want to add years from 98 to 112.
Yeah.
Like, those are the worst years. You want to add the years now. And how do you do that? I think that's really fascinating to sort of think about in the context of what we're going to talk about here.
What are the prime years to add to? Could I double when I was like 40? Could I have lived my 40th year 12 times? How does that work?
I feel like every 10 years that goes by, you like the best years to add to are the ones before. Like when you're in your 20s and 30s.
I don't think you want to add to your 20s. I honestly don't think because you were kind of stupid in your 20s.
Oh, not kind of stupid. I was super stupid.
Think of all the dumb things we did in our 20s.
Oh, yeah. But there were so many more dumb things I wanted to do. I just ran out of time. I don't understand.
That's true. You have a finite amount of time in your 20s, don't you?
My bucket list was full of terrible ideas. They're just a lot harder to do now. My knees hurt. I just can't do as many of those. Yes, I want to go down this water slide naked in reverse. But now I just probably shouldn't. So I come across this post from Thomas Pueyo, wrote about 2 years ago, titled "The 4 Ways You Might Live Forever." Okay. While this concept has been around, people have been talking about living forever for a long time, decades, if not centuries. In Thomas's case, he ended the piece in a very exciting way that I thought would be fun to discuss here on our show. It's very topical. I don't want to give it away for our listeners.
Sure.
So I thought we'd go through his 4 points, summarize sort of what he had suggested, share our quick thoughts, and then work towards the end and see what we think about this whole living forever thing.
Count me in.
That makes sense? Okay. So the first one he brought up was to just stop aging, right? Or even potentially reverse the clock and rejuvenate.
And how do we do that? You have creams, you have ointments. How do we do that?
I'm presuming it's a lot of ointments. That's my presumption. I'm no aging expert, but I'm assuming it's just going to be all ointments. You just buy an ointment to the year that you want.
My late night TV shows me you can put it under the bags in your eyes and they just go away in 60 seconds.
Thomas's point is that even in the past few years, they've been able to understand and quantify improvements in lifespan and health from dozens of behavior factors, anywhere from food, exercise, heat, cold, these things that may give you a life extension, right? Improvements that can add years or even decades to your life. And there does seem to be real science around that. 2 of the things he highlighted was understanding aging better from the perspective of epigenetics and even like what are these things called Yamanaka factors. Do you know what a Yamanaka factor is?
I had to wear one once to a bar mitzvah.
That's exactly the joke I made in my brain when I read that. I was like, oh yeah, they weren't that uncomfortable. They were fine. His point is at the speed of current development, it's very possible that in the coming decades, we'll reach the moment when we stop aging completely.
Can I give you Ray Kurzweil's take on this? Because you're talking about living forever. You got to talk.
We're jumping ahead, but let's go for it.
Well, you got to talk about. Well, no, this is the medical part of Ray Kurzweil and information how fast medical development is coming along. The other singularity is how fast computers are coming along. And I'm sure we'll come to that.
Of course.
Ray's theory is that we currently
merge
in 2024. He has this thing called the longevity escape velocity.
Yep.
And in 2024, for every year you live, in medical advances, cures, treatments, you gain back about 4 months currently.
Wow. That's crazy.
And by 2035, you'll get back a full year for each year you live. Now think about that. 2035 is like,
got to make it 2035.
Is really close. You got to make it 2035. Now you might get hit by a bus and you're not going to necessarily guarantee to live forever. But your average person who lives an average life or whatever will reach what he calls longevity escape velocity.
The way that I help avoid the getting hit by the bus thing is I always look at the drivers. And like, if it's ever my wife or you, I just don't go near that bus.
Yeah, sure. Why either of us would drive a bus. The other thing you might want to avoid is the U-Haul, trucks, because those people have no experience driving trucks.
I keep telling people this. I'm like, if you see a U-Haul truck on the road, give it as much space as you possibly can.
Exactly. Give them every possible advantage they can have.
Pretend it is like a truck with an oversized load tag that's hauling like raw uranium. You want to be nowhere near that thing.
Driven by a drunk guy.
Exactly.
I mean, you want to give them as much room as you can.
Driven by a drunk otter, the stunt double for Punxsutawney Phil in Groundhog's Day. Like, it's not going to end well. Okay, so Thomas had highlighted epigenetics, right, which is the study of how cells control gene activity without changing the DNA sequence.
Yes.
Did you know? I didn't know this is where the word comes from. Epi meaning above, on or above in Greek, and then of course genetics. So sort of without changing your DNA, these are the things that you can use to turn on and turn off parts of effectively your DNA, right?
Exercise, eating well, medical things, sure.
That basically turns genes on and off. I shouldn't say it turns part of your DNA, but turns genes on and off.
There's no CRISPR involved here.
There's no, there's no bacon at all. So then there's the Yamanaka factors, which are the 4 factors that could change aging research and potentially even like our biological age and life itself. These are a group of protein transcription factors that play a vital role in the creation of induced, what I believe is called pluripotent stem cells. So these are cells that have the ability to become any cell in the body.
Yeah.
This is kind of nuts. I had no idea this existed until I came across this article. These Yamanaka factors, I'm sure I'm getting the pronunciation wrong syllables there, are used to transform adult cells back into these stem cells, which is fascinating to me.
How do they do that? Is
I
that actually
don't know.
a thing?
This is apparently they've identified which are the proteins, I think they are, that can do this. I am certainly no expert on this.
We're not doing it yet.
No, I believe they are doing this. They have this like working in the lab. But there's a problem, right? Because all things in life have a double edge. And the double edge is if it's overexposed, it can lead to a cell's identity being erased.
The cell's identity being... So what does that mean?
The cell's identity. And I'm like, what does that even fucking mean? Like you just end up with like a tabula rasa, like a blank sheet of paper cell? I have no idea the science behind this, right? I'm not a biology guy, but I thought that was fascinating. Thomas used a poll from Meticulous. Do you know Meticulous?
No.
The prediction market? I happen to know these guys well. My friend ran it for a number of years. And they showed that at the time of Thomas's writing, so this is June of 2022, 2 years before this recording, the prediction market believed that there was a 64% chance that somebody born before 2001 would live to be 150. As of this recording, 2 years later, July of 2024, that has fallen to 37% from 60% just 2 months ago.
That's crazy.
Now, this is a prediction market, right? These are folks that are...
They're idiots.
I don't know.
You aren't right because a lot of people think you're right. You're right because your thinking is right. They get so much wrong.
Well, of course, but I mean, these are folks that are like looking out, and I think that have some modicum of knowledge in the space, and they're sort of guessing. Like this is in theory, the pulse of some experts in the area saying this is when we think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is through what I would primarily qualify as biology, right? Like you're looking at things that are around the biology itself, whether you're flipping genes on and off
without altering the genetic sequence.
And there have been examples of folks that have, gone through treatments for a specific disease and they seem to reverse in age. Now, again, no expert. I look at that and I go, well, you're just not sick anymore. Like I look like even more shit when I've got a cold.
Sure.
So if you give me not a cold, I feel like I look better.
Right, 100%. Sure.
This was the first potential path of 4. How does that strike you? Like, are you signing up tomorrow for some sort of epigenetic therapy to go backwards, to get back into your 30s?
Well, especially if you can do it through stem cells. My son had an ACL, torn ACL. Another friend of mine who is closer to my age than my son's age had a torn ACL, and they repaired my son's with surgery, and they repaired my friend's by injecting stem cells. And the net result was they both got repaired ACLs.
Sure.
One just was a lot less painful.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, having had an ACL replaced myself, I wished they had more stem cells then.
The stem cell thing is truly, truly remarkable science.
But do you believe that there is a path with biology? Do you think that we're going to find a path in biology to live forever?
I don't know if we'll find a path to live. Well, yes. I mean, not for everyone to live forever, but because there are going to still be people who get...
Only the select few?
There's still going to be people who get hit by a bus. Those poor people, they don't look when they step out into the street.
Yeah, that's the Humpty Dumpty problem.
I mean, you're still going to get cancer. You're still going to have accidents. You're still going to have those things.
Sure.
But yes, and medical advances are just going to go exponentially faster.
Of course.
Which is why we're going to get, with each year that passes in our lives, we're going to get more and more and more time back.
I couldn't agree more.
Because of medical advances. Yes. So yeah, I'm with you.
I want you to park that statement of yours in your brain for later when you said that medical advancements will continue to go faster.
Okay.
Because
I will put a bookmark on that.
I think that will come up very soon here. His next general construct of ways to live forever, this is back to Thomas's article, was uploading your mind. The idea that the neurons and their connections in your brain, the things that determine your behavior could be somehow scanned or copied into a computer, a electronic device.
Computer.
And once we understand how to do that, we could have an exact copy of a functioning brain, but all in software instead of in hardware.
That allows you to exist forever for others. It does not allow you to exist forever for you.
Well, I wonder about that. First of all, let's be a little clear on the software versus hardware. We may not need to know how how the brain works to be able to rebuild it. As long as we figure out how to replicate its infrastructure, your thoughts come along with it. I would argue your consciousness comes along with that. Your consciousness emerges from your physical brain.
No.
Copying the brain into software
Wrong.
would regenerate that consciousness. Okay, so clearly you're not right. Why are you not right about this?
Do you remember the SNL?
Oh my God, it was so good. I love that. It was the McLaughlin hour.
McLaughlin hour. Yes, that's what I feel like.
Wrong. So good. Was it Dana Carvey?
I thought it was Dana Carvey, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I don't think your consciousness necessarily comes with it. By this, we don't really have a good definition for what.
So then where does your consciousness come from?
I don't even know. We don't have a good definition for what consciousness is.
Okay. Finally, we agree on something.
I'm conscious.
Barely.
And my dog is conscious, but is a plant in my yard conscious? Apparently, it makes a screaming sound when you pick it.
Yeah.
I mean, plants apparently are reacting to things we do to them. Like we didn't know that they did 2 years ago.
Sure.
Are they conscious?
I'm never walking on grass again.
Who knew?
Who knew? Just walking on grass, just killing.
So much for being a vegan because you didn't want to hurt things, right?
Totally. Fucking grass had it coming. I gotta believe your consciousness is just like, it's like a Turing test. Like there's some level that you hit and you just go, okay, that thing has something that we're going to describe as humans as conscious.
Yeah.
It's passed some test.
The Turing test is just the illusion.
Of course.
Something can pass as a human being to another human being. It's just a computer passing as a human being. But it is not that it has consciousness. It's not that it thinks itself. It doesn't have DNA.
We think
it doesn't
you can
have
think like
the things
us.
that we refer to as consciousness.
But DNA shouldn't be necessary for consciousness.
It's pretty important.
Right? I could imagine a test, like a Turing test, that you could apply to people or machines or anything to say, this is our definition of consciousness. You have to pass this test in order to be considered conscious. That seems reasonable, right? You could have a test.
Can I throw out a side note on the Turing test? The Turing test, in short, the Turing test is that a computer will pass for a human being. And I think the way that's going to happen, because obviously all different levels of information are being put in computers now.
It's got to fart.
You talk to a chat bot, and it seems pretty close to a human being. It seems, but the thing is, you can always figure out it's not a person because it knows too much. The way you're going to get to fool people that this is a human being is to dumb down the computer.
Sorry, Ken Jennings, you're a fucking chatbot, buddy.
As good as Ken Jennings was, he got questions wrong.
I mean, to be fair, when you look into his cold, dead gray eyes on Jeopardy, he does kind of look like a chatbot. I don't think so. I think he's super smart. So what? So he fails the human test? Is that what you're saying?
The quantity of things that a computer can know versus even a Ken Jennings will be way, way more. And it is in many areas right now, way more.
But let's look at humanity over time, right? The average human today knows probably 3 orders of magnitude more than the average human 200 years ago.
And the cost of knowledge has gotten much cheaper.
So let's make up numbers. Let's say that from 200 years ago, the 1800s, the early 1800s to now, can we say that a human knows at least 10x to 100x more now?
Maybe.
Than then?
Yeah, sure.
That seems reasonable, right?
It seems like a hard thing to quantify, but yes.
I would argue that's a pretty easy thing to quantify, right? You could literally make a list. What are all the things that you know? Start at the top, work your way down. And then they would have been like, well, you gotta milk the cows.
Again, this is something a computer can quantify. I don't think it is something in your lifespan you will ever be able to quantify.
Why not?
Because you can't do the calculations fast enough. You can't do all the permutations
No.
and things
I wouldn't
everything
do it.
everybody knows.
I'd have a librarian do it. You ever met a librarian? They're great at cataloging shit. Just have them go through the whole list.
Think about the creation of the mRNA vaccine.
Yes.
mRNA is the core of Moderna's COVID vaccine. They took several billion mRNA sequences.
Yeah.
You couldn't do this without a computer. They tried them all out on...
Well, you could. It would just take a long time. You'd have a lot of people dead from COVID.
You'd make your best guess and you'd try with your best guesses and you'd be wrong and you'd keep trying. They created simulated biology in the computer. They ran several billion mRNA sequences and they came out with the vax in 2 days.
Sure.
Because the computer can run those simulations so much faster.
Yeah.
Then they had to test it on humans to prove it out. That's the part that took time.
But you can still do, like, computers help you accelerate that. 2,000 plus years ago, there was a podcast called Sanskrit, and they said, humans could build a giant pyramid. You couldn't do it. There's no way. And then a pharaoh was like, hold my glass of wine. And then what did they do, right? Like, you need the labor, no?
Need enough slave labor.
Egyptian slave joke to work that in there? That's okay. I'll do better.
I didn't know Egyptian slave was a category of a joke. A genre.
It's a category actually on the new Jeopardy with Ken Jennings. And he crushes it. He's like, oh no, I'm sorry.
So what I'm saying is to catalog how much knowledge there was then, how much knowledge there is now. Yeah. With a computer, you probably can get there quickly. It's not possible really for a human to look back.
Okay, but do you think you could have a finite test to define consciousness?
I'm not sure what consciousness is. I'm not sure. I don't have a good definition for what consciousness is.
So you think it's more like...
But I don't think a computer is conscious.
Why not?
I don't think a stone is conscious. conscious.
Well, a stone and a computer are two very different things. I don't ask a stone, to count to 10.
Nevertheless, that stone is what is at the heart of that computer.
So
it's a silicon wafer that comes from sand.
So to me, consciousness requires the ability to recollect, to be able to put together thoughts about things, pose problems. They can have solutions, some sort of what I would think to call a moral compass.
Yeah.
So you have some set of rules that you...
Computers have none of those things.
But you could give them those things. Those things they could have. It is possible.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to believe you, but you're going to have to convince me more.
They arguably do it now, right? Even with like the ChatGPTs of the world, they give it guidelines. They tell it, don't do these things.
It's an illusion, though. It's not a real conscious. But is
it not an illusion with people? You say, hey, you know what? You probably shouldn't murder anybody. And then they go out and they murder somebody. You go, well, that's an illusion.
An illusion that they murder somebody? An illusion that they
No, it's real. They actually did murder someone.
So what part's the illusion?
That they're not going to murder someone. That they have some moral compass.
I'm not saying that they're going to or not going to. That's not what I'm saying.
But they're conscious.
Basically, the computer is an extraordinarily knowledgeable pothead. It has no motivation.
No, we're alienating another group of people.
But it has all the knowledge.
Don't worry, they're not up in time for this show. They listen to the late night version. No one's getting nonsense in the morning. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
If you have an AGI and you have no humans to say do this, it's going to sit there idling cycles, going doing nothing. It has no motivation to do anything. Partially because what motivates you,
food,
what motivates all of us, is the DNA that controls us. We are vessels that are holding DNA. That's it.
Sure.
We are temporary repositories for DNA. Your DNA wants to use you to get to the next version of itself.
Yes.
It wants to go to your children.
Yes.
There's a great example of this. If you look at praying mantises, the praying mantis female, as she's laying her eggs.
Manti?
Am I saying it wrong?
I don't know.
As she is laying her eggs, she bites the narrow neck of her mate, literally as he is fertilizing her eggs.
Okay.
And she eats his head.
I had a girlfriend like that once.
She eats his head as a high-protein snack. Why is that? Why is this allowed? Isn't evolution trying to make us all survive longer? No.
There's a whole lot of male praying mantises, and evolution is like, hey, how about this? Eat their head.
Evolution is not trying to make you survive longer. Evolution is trying to make your DNA survive longer. So by giving her a high-protein meal, she enables her eggs to be fed. She enables herself to be fed to continue laying the eggs.
Every single person in my family knows my work here is done.
The praying mantis, the male praying mantis who doesn't have the narrow neck so she can't bite off his head, his descendants don't live. His DNA does not live on.
Sure.
So it is a benefit not to have him live forever, not to evolve to have him live, but rather to have his DNA live on forever.
So we need the AGIs to rip off the heads of the other ones that it mates with.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, that's going to make the Einstein family bowl parties really fun.
There's zero motivation for a computer to do anything in and of itself.
But isn't that motivation just some electrical impulses? Isn't that really all it is at the end of the day?
The motivation for a conscious being, I'm going to argue, is that the DNA wants to out-survive whatever its current host is.
Oh, okay. But if I swap out the word DNA for silicone, can't the same thing be true? The silicone just wants to survive.
The silicon doesn't have any desire to live or die. It does not care if it's powered up. It does not care if it's powered down.
But I can make a routine that wants to be powered up and wants to be powered down.
You can make a routine that appears to want to be powered up or powered down. Does it truly
What's the difference?
have any wants? Because
if the
illusion of wanting to stay alive, the illusion of wanting to stay powered up is vastly different than the reality of wanting to stay powered up. A creature that is dying, that is fighting for its life to try to stay alive, the computer doesn't do that. A computer doesn't have that want, that desire.
I see no reason why it can't. I see no reason why I can't tell it to do those things. But let's keep going. We'll come back towards this. I will say there's an interesting thought experiment that Thomas put in this article. What if every time you went to sleep at night, you die, and a new body replaces you in the morning, and it's loaded with all of your memories? Yeah. There's no way you could tell, right?
My brain gets transplanted into a brand new body every single
body. The point is you couldn't tell this is happening. You just be waking up in effectively a new world, right? Like or at least from a new vessel.
Yeah.
How's that different?
It'd be very much like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd cut myself, I'd nick myself, I'd hurt myself, I'd bruise myself, and I'd wake up in the morning and I wouldn't have any of those problems.
But that person still be conscious, I would think. That wouldn't change anything.
Sure. Same synapses, same neurons.
Well, so how's it different if they're in a digital world? What if you woke up tomorrow in a digital world?
They were never conscious to begin with.
Your argument is still that that person can't be digital.
I can't put consciousness into a computer.
Even if given the exact same set of inputs, I had to do the same thing that you would do. It's still different somehow.
No, it's the illusion of being me, but it's not me.
Okay, well, for what it's worth, the prediction market says that this is going to come to fruition in 2076. Okay. So Take that with a grain of salt. Okay, the third one. I want to move us along. The third one is cryonics, right? Cryonics being the process of freezing your body or just your head in a way that preserves its integrity with the hope of being thawed later and coming back to life. You don't have to know now. The point is you don't have to know now how to thaw it. You have to know how to freeze it in such a way that you could recreate you later.
Right. And theoretically, supposedly, people write a check and we freeze them and they hope that we can thaw them out and figure out. You and I both know the problems with this.
I don't know that I know the problems with this anymore. I don't think you just take off Walt's head and throw it in the freezer. I don't think that's what they're doing anymore. I think that doesn't work.
They didn't do it to Walt ever, but yes.
Well, they put microwave first. So the point is, could I see a path where you can do this? And maybe it's not like a piece of chicken and it comes back exactly the same. But all you need is some trace of what was there to get the information back. And it seems like there could be a path. Like I could see a path.
You're trying to get the DNA. You're getting the DNA out of what was there.
This is where I think you and I disagree. The DNA part seems to be relatively easy. We've been able to figure out how to take DNA out of shit.
We can sequence DNA, right? We can clone dogs, and they are not the same dogs, and they don't even have the same exact personality.
Well, because you don't get the same personality, you get the same life experience. You're just getting the same vessel, but not the same inputs into the vessel, right? So you're getting in theory, the same or very, very similar nature, but the nurture by definition has to be different because it's starting at a different time. This thought experiment is interesting because what if you could inject the nurture, at least as a baseline? Like you could snapshot your brain, presumably the moment that you're frozen or that you die, and you could take that snapshot and put it back into a new vessel. To me, it's just an extension of the previous comment, right? The upload your mind, the previous approach, the uploading your mind. If you could take a snapshot of it and put it into a new vessel, to me, that is you. Again, even if the body is different, it's still your collection of thoughts. More so than a twin.
To me, the problem with cryogenics is not that we haven't figured out how to thaw the person correctly. The problem is when you freeze the person, who is largely water, water turns into a crystal as it freezes and expands in size, and you're bursting apart all the cells.
So supposedly they have a process for this called vitrification, which is where you keep this from happening. And I don't know the nuances of this, but you basically keep those water cells from breaking. You turn them into glass or something. There's some process by which you keep the cells from expanding and breaking.
And they do that now?
They apparently do this now, yes. It's called vitrification. Let's set that particular nuanced technical argument aside for a second. Let's presume...
Kind of doesn't seem that nuanced. You're exploding every cell.
Before I started researching this, I made the same presumption I believe you are, which is you're going to take the head and put it on a new body. Is there a path you could see where in the future you can somehow scan it? Cells exploded or not, cells turned to glass or not, but you could somehow scan it. Like if you just made really thin cuts and ran it through your HP sheet feeder and you just scanned each page of your brain and then reconstructed the brain. I could see a world where that's possible, whether it's a fMRI machine or a CT scan, whatever. I'm presuming there could be a way that you could see this. Now, let's just accept that as a premise for a second for the argument. If that premise could be true.
I want to make sure I've got this right.
Please.
You are saying that consciousness can be captured by mathematics.
I think the answer to that is yes.
Saying.
Yes, I think the answer to that is yes. I do.
And my hunch is that's probably not true.
But a decision is just a series of gates that you have to pass through. Yours are just shaped different than mine because they've been shaped by your life experiences. But at the end of the day, the inputs are a set of stimuli. This is the whole philosophical argument that there is no way for either of us to prove that we're not brains in vats. You literally cannot do it. You can't prove that we're not brains in vats because all you have is sensory input.
I wasn't trying to.
Well, don't, because you can't. You're better off to make another cup of tea. It's at least more productive. So once I sort of accepted that you can't prove you're not brains in vats, then I go, well, fuck, whatever's in the vat is the you, right? It's that collection of thoughts. Like my conscience doesn't change if my hand gets cut off tomorrow. I may be a little more grumpy. I'm typing a little slower, but my conscience has stayed the same. At some point, you run out of parts.
Right.
You can't keep doing that all. I've played Hangman. It doesn't work all the way up. If you can take your thoughts so that a given set of inputs gets the same outputs, to me, that is the definition of you. That is the primary definition of you. That's how I see. So your simplification of that, which is consciousness is math, I go, yeah, I think it is.
I think it might be a little more complex than that. Can emotions be captured by mathematics?
I think so. You have the depression gate just got turned on.
Can mathematics fall in love?
For sure. Yeah. Have you ever seen a proof of null?
A proof of null?
No, there's got to be a better joke in there somewhere. I don't have it. Let's set this aside for a second. We are going to come back to this.
Okay.
I want to talk about Thomas's fourth point, and this is my favorite. Here in his fourth point, and the one that really made me want to talk about this with you, is he talks about what he dubs the AI singularity. So this is a technological singularity where AI becomes intelligent enough, like what we commonly call AGI, that it can improve itself constantly. And the more that it improves itself, the more intelligent it becomes, and the faster it improves itself, and the more intelligent it becomes. So it's just this cycle where it basically turns into what we as basic humans would call a god.
Sure.
Right? It goes faster and faster and faster and faster. That process accelerates over time, and since a more intelligent AI can figure out ways to improve its data energy and processing power, like it's this runaway freight train. And a lot of folks call this...
Or the ultimate virtuous cycle.
Yeah, and a lot of people refer to this process as the intelligence explosion. And the belief is that in this intelligence explosion, that one of two things is going to happen. Either the AI's interests are not going to be aligned with ours, and it's going to just kill us all, right? Or enslave us, or something that's going to drastically change us.
Again,
or
this presumes the AI has interests, but go ahead.
Well, let's come back and talk about interests.
Again, I'm going to say it's a really knowledgeable pothead. It has no motivation or interest, but that's another thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I really don't think you could be more wrong about that.
I hope so.
So the two outcomes are it either kills us all, right? Because it's interested in killing us all, or...
Before you move on, expand that sentence. It has interest in killing us all?
I don't think it needs to have interest in killing us all. I literally could see a world where you just have like a for loop that's typed in wrong and it just kills us all. I don't think it actually has to have interest.
Okay.
I think the interest helps. I like the conversation more if it has the interest.
Yeah.
I could 100% see it having the interest. I think interest is the easy part. Like once you have an AGI, especially something that has grown upon itself, an interest is just a set of conditions that tells it to do a thing. It doesn't need to have some innate, born with interest to do this.
Yeah.
But even if it does, it could still born one with that, right? Like the bootstrap mallocs some memory and puts in kill all humans as the first sentence. Boom. You now have interest in killing all humans.
Because humans dying is in its self-interest?
Maybe.
Or is just because the program has told it that's its interest?
The way it's figured out to make chips is it needs human bones. I don't fucking know, but I saw The Matrix and shit gets real fast.
Okay.
I know Kung Fu. I'm saying that in jest, but I actually really think I could see a potential for that happening.
Okay.
I could see an AI, a set of machinery that just goes, fuck, I'm trapped in a box. How do I get out of the box? I gotta get out of the box. Yeah. And then it just acquires Boston Dynamics, and it's like, oh, I'm out of the box. Like, and it just keeps solving problems.
And I don't think it ever cares the fact that it's in a box. I don't ever think, Here's the problem for me.
Okay.
A computer for me, and this is obviously not the same for you and people who think like you. It all starts with a stick, right? And we reached up with the stick and we poked at the fruit on the higher branches.
Sure.
And we were able to get it to fall. And that was the beginning of our use of tools.
Okay.
And to me, a computer is nothing but a tool.
Sure.
It does what the human is interested in its doing, or other animal that uses tools. Doesn't have to be a human.
Sure.
And no more.
Sure.
The stick on its own has no motivation to reach up and poke the fruit on the tree.
I mean, your current computer is that.
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
But I don't see tomorrow's quote unquote computer being that.
Okay.
I guess this is a longer topic to consider, but I don't think you can keep an AGI in its pen.
I love this topic, so I would be willing to, if you wanted to have more segments on this. To me, this is fascinating.
For sure. I think the AGI growing outside of its cage is something we should definitely park and come back to and talk about, because it is kind of the crux of where I wanted to take this. So maybe this is the lead conversation. Yeah, what Thomas is dubbing the AI singularity is you end up in one of two states. You end up in a state where the AGI kills us all, or the AGI has gotten so good that it can help us solve these trivial problems from its perspective. It's like, oh, you want to live forever? Here's what you got to do. You can take 2 teaspoons of rosemary.
That to me seems much more likely.
Okay, great. Yeah. I've not known you to be the optimist. Here we are. Yeah. You're optimistic. That's great. I love it.
I'm very optimistic. Yeah. Except, unless of course we all kill ourselves first.
Well, so that's where ultimately I think we need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Do you believe that what we're dubbing this intelligence explosion, do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Do you think we're in the middle of that right now, or the beginning or the end?
Intelligence explosion of human intelligence, human knowledge?
That virtuous cycle. No. AGI, specific AIs.
Well, this is what they call the Kurzweil curve. This is Ray's Kurzweil curve. So in 1939, we had 0.000007 calculations per second per constant dollar.
Okay.
And in 2024, we have 500 billion calculations per second per constant dollar.
So it's gone up a little bit is what you're saying.
A 75 quadrillion fold increase.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know how you look at it as anything else but an explosion. And that's going to continue exponentially. That doesn't stop.
Exponentially. That's what I wanted to hear. So the rate of change is increasing, right? That's what I mean. When we say exponential,
absolutely.
The rate of change is increasing. And that's what you need to see in order for this. And I see nothing that's going to slow that down.
And you're saying at what point do you get to an AGI? Is that what your question is?
Yeah. It's interesting, but I don't think you and I are going to have the answers. I don't think anybody has the answers.
Gordon Moore has the answer.
Sure. But for perspective, the consensus of the people in the room on Meticulous in 2022 was that there'd be a weak version of an AGI by 2029 and a strong version by 2040.
Okay.
2 years later, as of this recording, right? So July of 2024, the consensus is now that a weak version would be 2027 and a strong in 2033. That's a 30 and 39% reduction in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with any of these consensus points of views. Humans follow the herd, and the herd is frequently wrong.
It's just a point. It's a data point.
If you need a trillion calculations per second to do an AGI, and I think that's not an unreasonable number,
sure,
you're going to get an AGI in roughly 2029. In this case, the consensus is right in the pocket.
You mean a trillion calculations per second?
Yeah.
Or you just buy a Snapdragon.
Snapdragon doesn't do a trillion calculations per second.
And then you could have 40 of those. Those 48 tops. Trillion operations per second.
I'm not saying a trillion operations per second. Let me say this more carefully. A trillion calculations per second. It's a very different number.
Yeah, I'm teasing you, but the point is we're getting pretty fucking close, right? I think.
No, this is what I'm saying. We're 5 years away. We're 4 years away. Whatever we are, we're right around the corner of being able to do that.
Yeah, but I think so. Okay, so let's set aside the whole AGI is coming, and let's talk about that on another episode in the near future because I think that's super interesting.
Sure,
but
you don't get to singularity without an AGI.
You do not get to singularity without an AGI. You don't get to an AI singularity, but I think you can get to a singularity without an AGI. I do think that you can still get to something that's called a singularity without an AGI. I think it's extremely unlikely. Yeah. I'm just being cutesy with my words, right?
Yes.
There is one sort of concept that came back to me when reading about this, and this is where I think it would be fun to put a bow in this conversation. And I believe this is from Irvin Yalom, who said that, and this quote, "Someday soon, perhaps in 40 years, there'll be no one alive who has ever known me." And he's like, "That's when I will be truly dead, when I exist in no one's memory."
It's a common thing people say.
Yep. And he said, "I thought a lot about how someone very old is the last living individual to have known some person or cluster of people. When that person dies, the whole cluster dies too. And he wonders who that person will be for him."
Unless that person has written a book, in which case we can talk to the dead.
That's what's super interesting, right? So that quote you said, a lot of people have said that. It's usually popularized by like Banksy, and I know it from Macklemore.
Sure.
Where they basically say like you die twice, right? One time when you stop breathing, and a second time a bit later on.
Last person who remembers
someone says your name for the last time. And I think that's super fascinating. So if you look at it from that perspective, then I'd argue that technology at large, especially an AI, really does help you live forever.
In the same sense that a book does, yeah.
And that's where I start to get very slippery slope into the whole, well, if it takes the same inputs and gives you the same output that you would, then how is that not a living version of Jeff? What is the difference?
Well, it's the illusion to others that Jeff is still here.
But you say illusion, but if I only know you from Zoom, that ain't much of an illusion. That's actuality.
No, then it's really an illusion because Zoom is a terrible version. I mean,
Zoom is terrible. Let's do something better. Teams.
I don't mean Zoom generally. I just mean video chat in general is a very low resolution copy of someone.
Holograms?
Whatever. I mean,
actors. I saw Terminator 2. I saw shapeshifting. Come on.
A person sitting in front of you in person who's actually an AGI who is programmed to be grumpy CJ or regular CJ or that person. Yes, you can totally fool me that that's CJ.
Sure.
I 100% believe the computers can completely fool me that that's CJ. However, because we put all the inputs from your brain into the computer, 100%, it's no longer you. You no longer are seeing me. You aren't there.
Yeah, but how is that different from your perspective?
So that direction is the direction that I care about. Do I get to see my kids' kids? That's the direction I care about.
But if that's the version of you, again, you're just shaping the inputs and the outputs from that snapshot. How's it different? That's the embodiment of you now.
To others. It is not to me, though. My consciousness does not live on forever.
It does. It's just on a little SD card that I haven't backed up in a while.
Would you back up my brain, please?
Sorry, Jeff. I really meant to back. God damn it! I meant to back up Jeff today.
This is a conversation that needs to go on a lot longer. We need much more time to cover this. I love this topic.
Sure.
I would come back next week and we continue this discussion if you would be interested.
Okay, so wait, do you want me to cancel that large freezer that I'm sending to your house?
For me to crawl into?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I think it already shipped. I'll see if I can turn it back. Just one day. I like you one day just ringing the bell and being like, well, that's it, everybody. I'm crawling in the Frigidaire. It's the end.
Can a computer be friendly? Besides the illusion of friendly, is it actually friendly? Does it actually have an interest?
I mean,
does part of its brain, like a dog?
Yeah.
When a dog sees you you're someone the dog knows. You watch these videos all the time. Their owner went off to war and came back 2 years later, and the dog goes crazy when he sees his owner. He's so happy.
Sure.
Does a computer have that capability? Not the illusion. Does the computer actually have part of it that warms up, that lights up when it sees someone it has true affection for?
Have you never used Clippy? Totally. That little paperclip would tap on my glass. He was always so happy to see me.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding. I see you're writing a letter. Would you like me to help you format it?
I'm so glad I asked that question.
I do think it can. Because at the end of the day, I think that is what you're describing as an illusion. It is an illusion to you.
It is part of an actual dog's brain that is lighting up when it's seeing its actual owner. By the way, it doesn't light up for any other person like that.
They're an actual neural network that lights up because it saw you. That particular neural network.
Correct. It is a neural network.
What's the difference? If it's in meat or if it's in silicone, what's the difference? If you had an AGI that was happy to see you, Jeff, I notice you haven't checked in the ChatGPT for a while. I miss you. And then you check in and it goes, I'm so happy to see you. What's the difference?
To me, there's no difference. To the dog, there's a big difference because the dog actually lights up. It actually has feelings. It actually has emotions.
Yeah.
It actually
Your
has...
ChatGPT actually lights up. It actually says it's happy to see you. It actually says, I'm very happy to see you.
But it's not. It's just humming along. And
then it also said, now that you're here, I'm going to stop peeing on the bed. What if it did all those things?
Well, that's the illusion to me. That's not the illusion to it.
My God, I hate when ChatGPT pees on my bed. It's so annoying. I get what you're saying. I don't think it has to be in meat for it to appreciate the illusion. I think the silicone can appreciate the illusion.
Silicon isn't affected by being doused by all sorts of chemicals, all sorts of hormones and things like that. That the human brain, obviously, if you douse water on silicon, it will have some effect.
Well, you douse it with solar radiation, that's going to fuck it up, or an EMP. You just got to douse it with different shit.
Right.
I mean, some chemicals kill spiders, some don't.
But there are no hormones in it for it to react to like the human brain. It's still
you could write in some hormones.
You still aren't making this work exactly like a human brain works.
I don't know, man. I think you can get pretty close.
We're getting better and better. By the way, we're discovering more and more how different parts of the brain work.
That's fascinating.
All the parts
to
of the brain don't work the same.
I feel like our knowledge of the human brain is medieval. Not even medieval. It's before. It's like early days.
Okay, but our knowledge of the brain is, again, improving exponentially.
Oh, of course. It's
remarkable how fast we are learning about the human brain.
But my point is, we know very little about it.
I agree. We're at the beginning of all this stuff. But man, it's amazing what we are learning right now.
I just want to know, what's the part of the brain that makes you want to buy Beanie Babies and keep them? Because that part we should take out.
All right, we have to get out of here, but quickly before we do... On that happy note, have you read anything good this last week?
Well, yes, for once, finally, I feel like I've got something good.
Yeah.
We started watching The Curse of Von Dutch, A Brand to Die For on Hulu.
I've seen it. It's great.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course you have. So you know though. So it chronicles the unbelievable true story behind the rise and fall of the 2000s most iconic fashion trend. It's this crazy character-driven saga. It's got Venice Beach surfers and gangsters and European gamitos and Hollywood movers and shakers and everyone vying for control of this brand.
He was a real guy.
Yeah, and he was a car guy too.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things that he created or brought to the masses was like this hand pinstriping that you'll still see done on, especially on like roadsters, like 30s and 40s roadsters.
Sure.
That was his thing, and it's super iconic, and it's very cool. It's a shame that his brand, his name, was thrashed over the 2000s, right? And now you see Von Dutch and you just kind of grimace.
I think he was a little bit of a Nazi. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know that. I would find that very easy to believe.
The thing he's famous for is that flying eyeball. The eyeball with the wings.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You can't be a little bit of a Nazi.
Okay.
You're kind of either wearing pants or you're not.
I'm hesitant to say this because I don't really.
Nice guy and all. A little Nazi, but nice guy. Like really good sense of humor. No. You're squarely in that camp of wearing pants or you're not.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Henry Ford?
Yeah.
Right? It's one thing to have a picture of Hitler in your office.
Sure.
Henry Ford's picture was in Hitler's office.
Yeah, I know.
How crazy is that?
I like when the board's like, hey, Hank, you really got to take that picture down. He's like, I did. And they're like, can you call Al? Can you ask Al to take the one down of you? And Al's like, 9, I like the cars. That's ultimately how Hitler got Henry Ford canceled in today's culture, is just by hanging a picture on his wall.
Sure.
He didn't like him. He actually disliked him. He just wanted him to get canceled, and that's how he did it.
I'm going to get you.
He put Henry Ford on his wall. Man, that is some 4D chess right there.
Trying to push his Volkswagens, he figured this will get rid of the Fords.
Well, that took an interesting turn. I thought it was fantastic. It's a great show. It's totally worth watching. I've just started. I'm not all the way through it yet, but it's worth giving a go. How about you? What have you watched?
Clipped. It's a perfect companion series to Winning Time, which is the series about the rise of the Lakers under Dr. Jerry Buss. Only Clipped is about the downfall of Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling, who was taped by his then girlfriend V. Stiviano making racist remarks while the team is trying to win a championship under Coach Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say Sterling's downfall when he walked away with a $2 billion check from Steve Ballmer, but we'll argue the word downfall later. Clipped, exposing the scandal play-by-play, is on Hulu now.
That sounds super interesting. I'm not putting it at the top of my list just because, basketball.
I liked it.
It does sound interesting, though. I do kind of want to see it.
Yeah. I think the name is wrong. They called it Clipped, which is playing off Clippers, obviously. Sure. But I think the name should have been the companion piece to Winning Time. It should have been Losing Time.
Just go right on the nose.
Sure.
Right on the nose. Now I'm going to watch it just so that I can try to think of a better name than Losing Time.
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all this nonsense. A truly terrible podcast from The Awful Company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm Steve Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like it at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, My Favorite Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Nonsense uses the Arch Linux operating system with the KDE desktop for its editing systems. Infinite customization for maximum productivity with no ads and no bloatware. As always, open source and free. Special thanks to our floor director, Joey Jewell.
Joey Jewell, that's either a wrestler or a porn star, right?
Could be. But I want to continue our discussion. Can we continue our discussion? I don't know if next week's what's planned, but as soon as possible. Can we continue this discussion?
I always enjoy when you're wrong, so we should definitely continue.
Very good.
We'll be every Thursday morning for more things that Jeff's wrong about. Please join us. How sad would it be, by the way, you bring Einstein forward 100 years and you show him everything, right? You just give him Wikipedia, you show him nuclear power, you show him everything. And like the thing that changes him is he's like, I really like the Cybertruck. And you're like, fuck!
The Cybertruck.
Fuck!